students, today we are going to see the human respiratory system, the structure of human respiratory system we are going to see. After that we will start the process of respiration, how respiration occurs, the different steps and different phases we will see in the next step. First of all, let us start the structure of human respiratory system. So first of all, let us see whenever it comes to the first part, okay, then remember that here we have two chambers. One is the buccal chamber or buccal cavity, and the above we are going to have the nasal chamber or the nasal cavity. So the nasal chamber is separated from the buccal chamber by a hard bony structure. It's a bone. What is that? That is called as the palatine bone. So here you can remember already in the earlier chapter, whenever we discuss the buccal cavity, I have already told that the roof of the buccal cavity is made up of, is going to have the palatine bone. So that palatine bone will separate the nasal chamber with the buccal chamber. So first of all, let us see the human respiratory system will be started with the two nostrils here, right? So we are going to have the right and the left nostrils. So here these nostrils, they are also called as the external nares. Okay, so this is called as the external nares. After that, just behind that, just above the buccal cavity, what we have, this nasal chamber. So here we have one nasal chamber. On the other side we have the next nasal chamber, which have the three parts. So here you can see this is called as the nasal chamber. So this nasal chamber is divided into three different parts. So the first part of the nasal chamber, suppose this is the first part of the nasal chamber, what we are going to call it, this is known as the vestibular chamber, right? This is called as the vestibular chamber. Now just behind that we are going to have the next chamber. This is the respiratory chamber. So the next part of the nasal chamber is the respiratory chamber, and just behind that, behind the respiratory chamber, what we are going to have, the olfactory chamber. So right after the respiratory chamber, what we are going to have, the olfactory chamber. Okay, so remember that this vestibular chamber, respiratory chamber and the olfactory chamber, that are the three parts of the nasal chamber which will perform different functions. So first of all, let us see what is the function of the vestibular chamber. Remember, in this vestibular chamber, the lining is provided with the hair which help in purification of the air. Okay, remember that it is helping in purification of the air. It is provided with the mucus cell, and this mucus will trap any dust particle or foreign particle if it enters with the inspiratory gas. Then this nasal, in that first part of the nasal chamber, that is in the vestibular chamber, it get purified. Okay, so this is the first function of the vestibular chamber. Then after that we have the next chamber, that is the respiratory chamber. So what is the function of the respiratory chamber? It is helping in conditioning the air. Okay, now what is the conditioning of air? Suppose you have inspirated the air of temperature 5 degrees Celsius, or you have suppose inspirated the gas of 45 degrees Celsius. So what will happen, that can enter inside our lung and this may hamper our constant body temperature. If suppose you have taken a cold air, then what will happen in this respiratory chamber, that lower temperature gas will be bring to the normal body temperature, that is 36.5 or 37 degrees Celsius. Or even if you take suppose the inspiratory gas of temperature around 45 degrees Celsius, then also it will be bring down to the normal 36.5 or 37 degrees Celsius. So it basically help in maintaining the temperature of the internal body, right? So that is the function of the respiratory chamber. Next one, we have the last part of the nasal chamber, that is called as the olfactory chamber. What is the function of the olfactory chamber? It is helping. Olfaction means what? Olfaction means it is basically help in taking the smell of any type of volatile chemical. If it enters with our inspiratory gases, then this olfactory chamber, which has small minute pores within which this volatile chemicals will going to get dissolved, the particles, that any type of particles that get dissolved and it will be converted into the electrical impulse, then this dendrite will take this impulse to the Bowman's. Actually there is a gland present in this region that is called as the Bowman's gland, which send the impulse to the brain, which help us to understand and recognize the smell, whether it's good or bad, what type of smell it is helping in that. So what is the function of the olfactory chamber? This olfactory chamber will help in olfaction or smell. Okay, so remember that. So this is the first part. Right after the nostril or the external layer, what is that? That is the nasal chamber. Nasal chamber is divided into three parts. What are they? Vestibular chamber, respiratory chamber and olfactory chamber. Right, after that, see, here we have the nasal chamber, here we also have the nasal chamber. After that, at one region, we will open both the two nasal chambers into a common opening. So wherever both the two nasal chambers will open into a common point, that part, that specific region, that will be known as the internal nair. So this part, this will be called as the internal nair, right? Remember that. This will be called as the internal nair. Internal nair means it is the region where both the two nasal chamber opens. So internal nair is the region where both the nasal chamber opens, right? Remember that this is the internal nair. After that, what we are going to have the next part, what is that? That is the pharynx part, right? So once again, just see, this pharynx is divided into three parts once again. So the first part, right after the internal nair. So see, first of all, what we have the external nair. After that, we have the nasal chamber. After that, we have the internal nair. After the internal nair, we have the pharynx. So this pharynx, which will be divided into once again three parts. What are they? First one is the nasopharynx. So what is the nasopharynx? Right after the internal nair, we are going to have the nasopharynx. After the nasopharynx, you know already that after the buccal cavity, what is the next part, right? So this next part, after the buccal cavity, just internal side of the buccal cavity posteriorly, what is that part called as? That is known as the oropharynx, right? And the last one after that, in the region of the windpipe, what we have, this is the region. This part will be known as the Laryngo Pharynx. Okay, so this is called as the Laryngo Pharynx, right? So remember that what is the pharynx? Pharynx is the common pathway where both the food and the air that is going to get crossed, right? With the buccal cavity, we take the food, and with the nasal chamber, we take the air inside our lung. So this is the pharynx region where the gases, the air will cross with the food and it will go to the respective pipes that are windpipe or the trachea and the food pipe or the esophagus. So this is the pharynx region. This is a common pathway for both air and the food. Remember that. So what is the pharynx? It is the common pathway for both air and food, right? So remember that. After that, what we are going to have the two pipes. So here, just here, we are going to have the larynx. or the Adam's apple, what we used to say. Then after that, behind that, we are going to have the food pipe or the esophagus. So here we are going to have two pipes. So this is the windpipe, and just behind the windpipe we have the food pipe. So this food pipe or the esophagus we have already discussed. So we are not going to draw all this parts, that is the part of the digestive system. Here we are going to see only the respiratory system. So we are going to draw only the windpipe. So this is the windpipe, right? And this windpipe, just above that we are going to have the voice box, and this voice box is known as the larynx. So here we are going to have the voice box or the larynx. Okay, so this larynx is the organ which help us to produce the sound with the expirated air. Remember that this is one hollow structure with which the air will pass, right? So whenever we take the gas inside our windpipe, we cannot produce sound. Whenever the gas is repelled outside during expiration, then we will trap the air, and with a specific force will repel the air with the larynx, and this larynx will be provided with some vocal cords which is going to vibrate with the expirated air, and we can able to properly speak and we can sound different types of sounds. So that is the larynx or the voice box or the sound box. Okay, so this larynx, this is completely a cartilaginous structure. It's made up of cartilage completely. So let's just see now after that the next part. What is that? The larynx, right? So just see this larynx, right? So this larynx, which is also known as the voice box. So this voice box is a hollow structure. So this is the hollow structure, right, which is provided with the vocal cords, is provided with the vocal cords, okay, which vibrate in the expirated air, and we can produce sound. Okay, so once you understand larynx, after that we will see that this larynx is made up of how many cartilages. So one interesting thing you need to know, that larynx, whenever we are making sound, it is never with the inspirated air. Whenever we take the gas inside, then we cannot produce sound. Whenever we expirate, okay, with the expirated air only we are able to produce the sound, and that is made possible because of the larynx, right? So this larynx, which is made up of 9 cartilages, right? So this is made up of 9 cartilages. So just see what are the 9 cartilages. So first of all, what are those 9 cartilages? So I will draw the larynx here. So you can see this larynx is like this. Okay, so this larynx, above that we are going to have one structure. This is called as the epiglottis. Remember, epiglottis is the first flap above the larynx. So this is the flap that is called as the epiglottis. This is also one cartilage. So after that, if you see this structure posteriorly I have shown, now just see, this is made up of a T-shaped structured cartilage. Then this T-shaped cartilage, this is known as the thyroid cartilage. Okay, this is the single largest cartilage, that is a thyroid cartilage. Just behind that there is a ring-like structure. So there is a ring here. So what is this ring? This ring, I am not going to show properly, it's the 3D diagram. So this is the ring-like structure. So what is that cartilage? This is the cricoid cartilage. Okay, and on either side of this thyroid cartilage we have a paired cartilage. What is that? This is a triangular pyramid shaped cartilage is present. What is that? That is known as arytenoid cartilage. Okay, and just above that we are also going to have 2 pairs of cartilages which are small. One is cuneiform and another is corniculate. Okay, So these are the cartilages. So how many cartilages we have? See now. First of all, what we have, the first one, that is epiglottis. So this is the epiglottis. How many cartilage? One cartilage only. Then second, what we have seen, this is the thyroid cartilage. How many thyroid cartilage we have? Only one. Then after that, what we have seen, third one, this is the arytenoid cartilage. Arytenoid, how many arytenoid? We have two arytenoid cartilages. Then after that, we have a ring-like structured cartilage which is present on the base of the larynx. What is that? This is the cricoid cartilage. This is a ring-like cartilage. Remember, how many in number? Only one. Next one, cuneiform. This is how many in number? This is two in number. And then after that, we have corniculate. How many corniculate cartilages we have? We have two corniculate cartilages. So as total, you just counted how many numbers of cartilages we have. Epiglottis 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So as total, how many cartilages we have in the region of the larynx? This larynx or the sound box or the voice box which can produce the sound, which is made up of, this is a completely hollow structure, hollow box-like structure, which is made up of, from the outer side, it is made up of 9 cartilages. If we have a section of the larynx, then you can see this is the section of the larynx. Inside the larynx, we are going to have the cords. Okay, so these are the vocal cords. So these vocal cords are going to produce the sound. So we are going to have the true vocal cord and the false vocal cord also. So here these are the false vocal cord. Okay, and just behind the false vocal cord, what we are going to have, the true vocal cords. So these are the true vocal cords. Okay, right? So this is the TS of the larynx. This TS of the larynx, this is the passage for air. So here this region which actually pass the air into the windpipe. So just see, this is the TS of the larynx, which is going to have the false vocal cord and the true vocal cord. Whenever we take the gas, the vocal cords are not going to vibrate. Whenever we expirate the gas, then only the vocal cords will be vibrated and we can able to produce a sound. In case of the female, the voice is high pitched, and in case of the male, the voice is low pitched voice. Remember, then this is actually going to differ, and person wise also the voice will differ. The reason is the thickness and the length of the vocal cords. So whenever the vocal cords are going to get longer, even if it is 1 millimeter, then also the voice is going to be changed, and the thickness also will matter. So thickness and the length of the vocal cords will differ in sounds produced by different person, and also sex wise, male and the female, they will have different voices, high pitch and the low pitch, depending upon the diameter, length and the thickness of the vocal cords. So yeah, that is the first part of the human respiratory system. We are going to complete it. In the next video, we will see that right from the windpipe. Right from the windpipe, we are going to start our video in the next part. The structure of human respiratory system we have not completed yet. In the next video, we will start with the windpipe, or the respiratory tract, or the trachea, and we will complete the whole lungs. The lung part we will complete in the next video. So this is the first part of the human respiratory system structure. So let's just move to the next part, next video. We will see the next part of the human respiratory system. I hope you understand. Thank you.